When we make assessments for students in a diverse classroom, we really have three goals we have to balance. The first and most lofty goal is equity. Equity in this case means equal opportunities and equally high standards for all students. And really, if we balance out these next two goals, we can achieve equity. One of the goals is reliability. That means getting those same results every time you give the test. And the other goal, and I think the most important, the goal that should be our focus, is validity. And when you're dealing with validity, you have to ask, does this test really assess what I want it to assess? Or is there something that gets in the way of it, like cultural background knowledge or language knowledge? So reliability has traditionally been a focus, but with newer performance types of assessments, it's just not going to be as possible. So that's why I say you really need to focus on validity. So addressing issues with validity will make the test more equitable. You need to think about giving your students multiple ways to show what they know. There's the old adage, there's more than one way to skin a cat. And when you're dealing with English language learners, if the only method you give them to show what they know is a language that they're just learning and that they don't know, then you're not going to have very successful students in that regard. So try to find multiple ways to allow students to show what they know. Also, create tests or assessments to suit your student abilities. And if you work with your English as a second language teacher at school and you utilize the WIDA tools, which you can learn about in another video of mine on the WIDA framework, then you can find out what students should be able to do at their language proficiency level and write your assessments around that. Also, you could try translating your assessments, but you have to be careful here. If you use things like Google Translate, you could get some really strange translations. You want to utilize a process called back translation, which is where you put something in English into a translator to another language, take what you have, what you get, and put it back into English. And do this at least 3 times. And watch the English each time to see if it really changes the meaning. If it does, you're going to have to rewrite the English that you start with. In that case, I would use short, simple sentences when you rewrite this. So for example, if you're going to write a word problem, and the word problem goes something like this: Jim is 20 years old. Maria is the oldest child. If Bob is 3 years older than Jim and Maria is 5 years older than Bob, how old is Maria? You might want to rewrite that into just short, simple sentences. Jim is 20 years old. Maria is the oldest child. Bob is 3 years older than Jim. Maria is 5 years older than Bob. How old is Maria? If you put those short sentences into Google Translate, you'll have a much higher chance of back translation returning a good translation for you. So those are a few ideas, and those are some of the issues you have to think about when you're assessing English language learners. Again, you want to keep the assessments equitable, and the best way to achieve that is by focusing on validity. Thank you.